Celebrity interviews live from the grotto with Greg Hanna. Greg, what's going on, man? How are you? All right, I guess Greg is here, and I'm excited to welcome Joe Menendez. We're going to talk about the Henry Danger film and everything. How are you, Joe? Thanks for stopping by.
I'm doing very well, Neil. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, and let's kind of jump in and start out by specifically enough. Did you always want to be a director and a producer? Was that something always growing up you wanted?
Absolutely. I was one of those that made Super 8 movies when I was a little kid. I grew up in the 80s. I was formed in the 80s. So big fan of Star Wars and Steven Spielberg and Robert Zemeckis. So for me, escapist popcorn movies were my jam. So for me, getting an opportunity to do an escapist popcorn movie with Henry Danger, the movie, is sort of a dream come true.
And you
Well,
think of all the different things? Go ahead, Greg, with your question.
well, yeah, I was just going to just jump on that. Joe, if you could time travel and guest star in any classic TV or movie, which one would it be now that you mentioned that? And what kind of character would you play?
Oh man, that's a great question. Listen, I was a big fan of moonlighting, but back in the 80s, like
Yeah, yeah.
to have worked at the Blue Moon Detective Agency, that would have been amazing. But like if I could have been in ET or in Star Wars, that would have also been, I'm done. Like what else do I got to do? Nothing else to accomplish.
Which character would you like to have played?
I would have loved to have been a Jedi, if I was in Star Wars, and I would have, and then, or if I was in ET, I would have loved to have been one of the kids on the bike, like have ET take me up, across the moon. That would have been amazing.
So, Joe, did you ever want to act or always want to be behind the screen, behind the camera?
No, no, no. I've done the acting thing in my own stuff, and it's more as an exercise to understand what actors go through, so that it makes me a better director. But I'm not one of these directors who secretly wants to act. Like I leave the acting to actors, I leave the writing to writers, I leave the editing to editors. I find that as a director, you have to have a full understanding of what everyone does. But at the end of the day, it's like all I do is share what's in my brain, what's rattling around in here, and I share it with people. So for me, I have the utmost respect for actors because they're inhabiting these roles and doing these things and going to places that is phenomenal when you watch it. When you watch it on set, it's an amazing thing, and I'm the first audience. So I could never be an actor, which is why I love actors. I love actors tremendously.
Very cool. Joe, if you could direct a crossover episode, those have kind of been big, lately. And if you blend two wildly different shows that you worked on, what shows would you pick, and what would the plot look like, do you think?
Oh man, good question. Well, I did Star Trek Picard, and I would have loved to have done sort of Star Trek Picard and Henry Danger. Let's just put these two together. Let's have yeah, why not? He's a superhero. Like to have Henry shoot off into space. Maybe that's the second movie. It's Henry Hart in outer space. I to me, it's like you get, if it's a superhero movie, and the great thing about the genre is that if we came up with the right story, and it was the crossover and Jean-Luc Picard beamed down to dystopia or to Swellview and turned to Kid Danger and said, I need your help on some planet, and we come up with a specific reason why Kid Danger is specifically needed, you could probably find that crossover easily. And it's, by the way, they're both Paramount properties, so who knows?
Hey, you've already might have already came up with an idea. Now, it's amazing the Henry Danger brand, to the point now a movie, Joe, and like the where it's grown since, and so many of my kids have watched it.
Yeah, no, well, that's what it is. Like the show came out in 2014 and it concluded in 2020, and it was as you said, a very popular sitcom. My daughter, who's now 19, watched the show growing up. So, but what I admired the most about the show when I would watch it is how much it was sort of bursting at the seams of ambition. Like it wanted to be more spectacular than it could be, but it was a multicam show, a 4-camera proscenium show. When the script came to me, we said, well, I get a chance here to make the movie, to actually have legit spectacle, legit action pieces and set pieces that you couldn't do in the multicam. So it was a natural sort of evolution, if you will, from sitcom to movie. And we are very aware that there's, the fans like my daughter and your kids who grew up on it. Then there's the new fans that are watching the show now and rerun who are kids. And then there's people like us, like parents. Like we all want to sit down with our kids and we want to watch some movie or some show with them, and we want to appreciate it and enjoy it just as much as they do. So I made sure that this movie has something for the OG fans, it has stuff for the kids, and it has stuff for us as parents as well.
Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So good, Greg. You have your final question you want to ask Joe?
I got one other quick one first, okay. Joe, if you have time. So Joe, what do you feel like is the most valuable lesson you've learned from an actor or a director you've collaborated with, and how has it or hasn't influenced your own work?
Well, I think when actors have an issue with a scene or they're struggling with a scene, that is truly the most exciting part for me, because it's that moment of discovery where they're trying to find some truth. And you sometimes find that it's the smallest detail. It's like an adjustment. It's to get somewhere. So for me, I found when actors like I did on Snowpiercer, I had an episode where Daveed Diggs is separated from his kid, and his kid gets kidnapped by Sean Bean's character, and they're separated by a glass. And so we had conversations about how should I react to this? Should it be anger? Should I weep? Should I be numb? All of those are valid reactions. And what I finally said to Daveed is, why don't we just roll and just see what happens naturally? Because to intellectualize it is probably not a good idea. Let's get it on camera. And oftentimes the best lesson is, let's not talk about it. Let's just shoot it and see what happens, because that's where you'll find the truth.
Awesome.
All right, ready? Yeah. Okay. You ready, Greg, for your question?
Question?
Yeah,
I'm ready. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah. Excellent. So Joe, tell me, what do you feel is the most important thing in life you've ever learned?
Well, I think it's kind of what Henry Hart goes through in this movie. It's to value your friends and your family. I think we get so caught up with what we're doing and with work and with achieving and succeeding and excelling that sometimes we tend to have blinders to people that are around us, people that love us, people that care about us. I know that's certainly something that's happened in my own life, which is why I found this very relatable with these characters. So for me, it's about valuing the people that love you and love them back. And that's sort of the central theme of Henry Danger, the movie, is Henry sort of learning to appreciate and love what his friends and his family does for him.
All right, fantastic. Everyone could check out the premiere is January 17th, tomorrow on Paramount Plus and Nickelodeon. Thanks again, Joe. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right, that was a special simulcast of the Neil Haley Show and celebrity interviews live from the Grotto with Greg Hanna. Guys, take care. See you, Joe.